Hello TI fans. I recently got Codex 2 and 3 for Twilight Imperium 4th edition. This is the first time I've ordered from Gamezenter, so I wanted to put together a review of what I got for the community. If this is your first time hearing about a Twilight Imperium codex, think of each codex as the board game equivalent of a software patch, meant for fixing or adding to the game. You can find them on the Fantasy Flight webpage for Twilight Imperium. Just scroll down and open up the support section. When the first codex came out, I bought its printed components from someone on Etsy. This time I wanted to try out the Gamezenter because I'd heard from the Space Cats Peace Turtles guys that it was associated with Fantasy Flight. Gamezenter sells all sorts of Twilight Imperium products on their website, and the codex materials are among them. So let's take a look at these cool envelopes they sent me. Codex 2 came with a printed version of the information online, a pack of larger cards with the home system backs, and a pack of smaller cards. Let's start with the bigger cards. Here's an example of one online. The intent of the card is not to be used during the game itself, but as a sort of introduction to the faction that people can use during setup. The physical cards look like a lot of fun to play with. My camera doesn't want to focus on them, but I'm looking forward to handing them out to people when they're deciding which factions to play. There are two different flavors of smaller cards. First, each faction gets a card that represents their commander ability. This can be given to whoever receives their Alliance promissory note as a reminder of the power that they have access to, assuming the commander's unlocked. Second, there are 3 brand new relics that can be added to the relic deck. These could cause games with the Codex 2 content to play out differently than games without it. They're not just quality of life improvements like the other cards in the Codex. One thing that concerns me is that the backs of the new relic cards are a slightly brighter yellow than my old cards. I don't know if that's just because of the age of the old cards or if they were printed a little bit differently. It's more visible when you have them back to back with an old relic. They're also just slightly smaller. It's enough that you can feel it when the cards are in a deck together. Alright, let's take a look at Codex 3. The big draw for Codex 3 is a brand new faction, the Council Caleres. The packet comes with everything you need to play them. It gives you a faction sheet with both the back and front nicely printed, as well as all the faction components, the leader cards and technologies, etc. I'm looking forward to seeing the Caleres in action. There's also a lot of replayability with this faction, because they come with 3 different hero options that each correspond to a different starting home system. In addition to a brand new faction, Codex 3 adds a boost for some existing factions. The Nalu Collective gets a new agent, new commander, and a new mech. The Yin Brotherhood gets a new agent, a new commander, and a new hero. And the Extra Kingdom gets a new hero to replace their old one, which was wildly swingy. There are also 6 new exploration cards for the Frontier deck. These look like they're going to make the Frontier deck a little bit less hit and miss, with most of these being at least decent rewards. They do have the same problem as the Codex 2 cards. The color is a little darker than the originals, and the size is just a little bit smaller. This codex also has new versions of some secret objectives. The content doesn't really change, but it clarifies the wording. Unfortunately, they are also brighter red than the old secret objectives and slightly smaller. I think I need to get some sleeves because I don't want someone to accidentally realize what secret their opponent has just because they're familiar with the cards. To round things out, each faction with a new commander gets an alliance card to help players remember what the alliance actually does for them. And finally, there are 4 new cards that summarize what the factions do with their new changes. In summary, I think the codex content from Gamezenter is really good, but not perfect. I am looking forward to playing with the Caleres faction. I think all of the cards that came in Codex 3 are going to work great for that faction. I am a little bit concerned about some of the cards that I want to keep secret, especially the secret objectives, because they look slightly different from the originals, and I think I need to buy some sleeves with opaque backs to solve that problem. So I think I'll get some of those and see how those work. Alright, thanks for watching.